Truth be told, I'm not one to put a great deal of stock in Twitter. I was late to the social media party and I stay pretty reluctantly. But I do think it acts as a good barometer for what's going on in society, in the corners of people's minds, and in the darkest recesses of our souls and our relationships. I feel like more and more I am seeing tweets from people saying they are no longer willing to have any kind of relationship with anyone who expresses unacceptable views. And I get calls and emails from people every day who say their children, grandchildren, friends have cut them out of their lives. And I've experienced this in my own personal relationships. Voices like Joe Rogan's in society today are not just criticized, but threatened with cancellation and deplatforming. Even Ontario's premier said at a news conference recently that all of this has polarized us in a way we could never have imagined, and it's been one of the hardest things that he and his family have gone through. And our Prime Minister repeatedly says in the House that those who question his decisions are ignorant, anti-scientific, misogynists, and racists, and that when he gets questions from the opposition, he just simply walks out. None of this is a good sign. Disagreement is one thing. In fact, it might be a social good, but I fear we are making cancellation the moral norm and headed toward the kind of intractable conflict that just tears societies apart. The question is, what do we lose morally when we cancel each other, and how do we pull back before we go too far? The French Enlightenment writer Voltaire said, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." And the utilitarian John Stuart Mill wrote that the peculiar evil of silencing the expression of an opinion is that it robs the human race. If the opinion is right, they are deprived of the opportunity of exchanging error for truth, and if wrong, they lose the clear perception of the truth. But I think cancellation means something even more troubling than this for our humanity. Cancel comes from the Latin word for crossbars. It's related to the idea of trellising. So the idea is that you delete or obliterate someone by drawing or stamping lines across it. Canceling others, this 21st century form of scapegoating, is the ultimate form of denying the humanity of another person. When you disagree with someone and choose to respond to them in some way, engaging in discussion or debate, you are saying that you value their contribution enough that it is worth spending the time and exerting the mental effort on it. But that work is hard. It's much easier and ultimately more destructive to do what a toddler does and storm out of the room when you disagree. I think that canceling is a kind of homicide to our moral and civic virtues. It destroys what we need most to build faith in and trust for one another. It involves curiosity, empathy, respect, and friendship. If we not only tolerate and accept, but praise and normalize canceling, I fear our culture will plunge us into a moral dark ages from which it will be difficult to emerge. This isn't about who is right or wrong, but about how we treat each other when we disagree, and what that says about us and where we are headed. So instead of canceling, unfriending, storming out, let's try harder to allow each other a little more grace and give each other the respect of our attention. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed watching this video, please consider making a tax-deductible donation to the democracyfund.ca/donate.